Funny dreams. No thanks.
In the future, women do not give birth anymore. A tech company figured out how to grow a baby inside a detachable pod the size of a watermelon. You carry it to work, you strap it to your chest on the subway, you plug it into a base station at night like a phone. You feed it through an app. The company owns the pod, not you. Them. Rachel and Alvy found that out the hard way on a beach at night when the pod stopped responding and the baby inside it was ready to come out. This is how they got there. This is the pod generation. Rachel wakes up from a dream about her pregnant belly and lies still for a moment in the dark. Then the smart home starts her morning. Breakfast is already made. An AI assistant named Elena notes that her serotonin levels have been dropping and suggests a nature pod session. Rachel says she is too busy at work. She kisses her husband Alvy and leaves. Alvy is a botanist. He spends his mornings in the apartment greenhouse potting real plants. His students at the university are nervous about eating a fresh fig from a real tree. They have grown up eating food made by machines. He finds this quietly devastating. Rachel works at a tech company developing AI assistants. She is good at her job. She is about to get better. Rachel's HR director calls her in and tells her she is being promoted. Then she says something else. The company has a partnership with the Womb Center, the world's leading artificial pregnancy facility, now owned by a corporation called Pegasus. The company will cover the down payment if Rachel and Alvy decide to start a family through the pod program. The HR director says it like it is the most natural thing in the world. On the same day, Rachel gets a call from the Womb Center. A spot has opened up on their wait list. They would like to arrange a tour. Rachel books it for Thursday. She does not tell Alvy. The Womb Center is clean and white and smells like a hospital that is trying not to smell like a hospital. The director, Linda Woschek, walks the prospective parents through the incubation room, rows of pods glowing softly on their base stations, each one with a small viewing window. Inside each one, a baby growing. Linda explains everything. Parents can use a phone or tablet to play music or spoken word for the baby inside the pod. They can choose which flavors go into the amniotic fluid, a variety of options so the baby does not grow up a picky eater. The pod can be disconnected from its base for up to 48 hours, enough to travel with it. The baby can hear voices from outside, and parents are encouraged to talk to it regularly. Rachel asks questions. She takes notes. At the end, Linda asks for a deposit to confirm her interest. Rachel transfers the money that evening. Alvy sees the bank notification first, $8,700. He asks Rachel if they need to call the bank about a suspicious transaction. Rachel tells him it was her. She explains about the wait list. She put them on it a year ago, never expected them to actually call. Then the tour, then the deposit. All of it coming out in one breath in their kitchen. Alvy goes quiet for a long moment. He has always wanted a natural pregnancy. A real child carried in a real body, the way every human being for all of human history has been carried. He believes that the world came apart when companies started treating nature like a product. He teaches his students to eat real figs from real trees and feel something about it. He tells Rachel he is hurt. Rachel tells him she just wants to have a baby with him. That is the only reason she did any of it. He hugs her and says it is okay. It is not entirely okay yet, but they will work on it. They visit their friends Alice and Ben, who already have a pod baby. Ben wears the pod carrier strapped to his chest like a backpack. He asks Alvy if he wants to hold it. Alvy politely says no. At home, Alvy lists his concerns: the plastic material, the artificial environment, the idea of feeding his child through an app. Rachel tells him all that matters is that the baby experiences it as a real womb. Alvy goes to see Rachel's AI therapist, Eliza, to talk it through. He argues with the AI for most of the session. He does not believe something without a soul can understand human feelings. He comes home and tells Rachel the session was great. At a restaurant, he lists more concerns. Rachel puts her fork down and says they do not have to do it. She does not want to argue anymore. That night, after they are in bed, Alvy tells her he changed his mind. She asks why. He says he can see how much it matters to her. They go back to the womb center together. Linda asks them one question that neither of them expected. She asks whether it is important to them that Alvy be the biological father. She explains that with pod technology, they only need Rachel's ovum and her skin cells, no male DNA required, unless they want a son. Rachel does not hesitate. She tells Linda her husband will be the father. They watch the fertilization on a screen while Linda narrates every step. When it is done, she congratulates them. A worker brings out a small canister with the zygote inside. Rachel and Alvy look at it together. Rachel gets an app. She can see the baby's progress in real time. She can feed it. She can choose flavors. She can check its development between meetings. Alvy tries to listen to the pod at home. He presses his ear against the smooth white surface. He starts talking to it quietly, even though he is not sure anything inside can hear him yet. 3 weeks in, Rachel asks him to give her a few weeks without physical affection. She is focused entirely on the baby. Alvy says nothing. At 6 months, the womb center tells them they can take the pod home for 2 weeks. They open the tiny viewing window together for the first time and look at the child growing inside. Neither of them says anything for a long time. They start to pull in different directions. Rachel decorates the nursery. Alvy suggests a real plant in the corner. Rachel says a hologram version would be easier. Alvy walks out of the room. Rachel brings up selling Alvy's property on Shell Island, a natural cabin by the beach he has owned for years and never visits. Alvy says they do not visit because Rachel never wants to go. Rachel says they do not need to because the city has nature pod sessions. Alvy says he will not raise their child with pods as its only experience of nature. At a public pool, Rachel watches a visibly pregnant woman moving through the water. In the changing room, the woman takes Rachel's hand without asking and places it on her belly. The baby kicks. Rachel stands there with her hand on a stranger's stomach and feels something she cannot name. Rachel brings the pod home from the facility early. She tells Alvy it is their home too. The baby should be here. They transferred carefully to the bedroom. That night, Alvy cannot continue being intimate knowing the pod is in the room with them. He carries it to the nursery. He nearly drops it on the way. Rachel goes pale. Alvy tells her she will have to accept that their child will stumble and fall at some point in its life. That is not cruelty, that is reality. In the middle of the night, the pod beeps. They both rush to the nursery. Alvy asks if Rachel remembered to feed it. She reminds him that he has the same app and the same responsibility. The next day, at the Pegasus private school, a parent mentions that his nephew, a pod baby, does not have dreams. Linda says it is a side effect they are working on. She assures everyone that dreams serve no evolutionary purpose. Alvy stares at the wall. Something shifts in Alvy without anyone planning it. He starts carrying the pod and the carrier around the city. He reads books out loud while walking through the park so the baby can hear his voice. He lets it listen to whale sounds in the morning. He opens the viewing window and just looks at it for long stretches without saying anything. His workplace tells them they are replacing the real greenhouse with holograms to cut costs. That evening, he cries watching a documentary about penguins and cannot fully explain why. When Rachel suggests sending the pod back to the facility early, Alvy says no. Having it at home has been the best part of this whole process. Rachel finds dirt packed into the pod's crevices when she cleans it. She tells Alice she is worried Alvy is being reckless. Alice tells her he is just excited to be a father. That night, Rachel tells Alvy she is not doing well. She asks to see Eliza together. In the session, she admits the truth. Alvy is bonding with the baby. She is not. She is not sure she is ready to be a mother at all. The couple meets with Linda to arrange the birth date. Linda tells them the pods are in high demand. They will need to induce the birth at exactly 39 weeks, the company's schedule, not the baby's. Rachel asks if they can keep the pod at home until it is naturally ready. Linda points to the fine print of the contract they signed months ago. The pod is the womb center's property. It must be returned to the facility for the birth. Those were the terms. Outside on the pavement, Rachel and Alvy look at each other. Alvy tells her to wait outside. He goes back in alone, into the incubation room, and walks out with their pod under his arm. Rachel wakes from a dream about bringing a baby home from a supermarket in a shopping bag and tells Alvy they should go to Shell Island. She does not want their child's first moments to be inside the womb center under fluorescent lights with Linda Wozicek watching. Alvy calls Linda and tells her they are considering a home birth. Linda reminds him that the pod is the company's property. She says they will need a self-generated birth code to open the vessel, and she strongly advises against the plan. They go anyway. The cabin on Shell Island is exactly what Alvy always said it was. Quiet, real wood floors, the sound of the sea through every window. They set the pod on the kitchen table, and for the first time in months, both of them feel something uncomplicated about the whole situation. They spend the last days of gestation there, reading to the pod, sitting with it on the porch. Rachel puts her hand flat against the warm surface while the sun goes down over the water. One night, the base station stops responding. The womb center has remotely cut off their access to the facility from hundreds of miles away. The pod is running on its 48-hour autonomous battery now. When those 48 hours are up, whatever happens, happens. The next day, the pod beeps 3 times in a specific pattern. The baby is ready. Rachel tries the birth code, the conception date. Wrong. She tries other combinations. Nothing works. Alvy gets his tools. He removes the screw top first. The opening is still too small. He slides a flat tool between the 2 sealed halves and pushes. The seal resists. He pushes harder. The 2 halves separate slowly and then all at once. Rachel wraps the baby in a towel. They sit on the floor of the Shell Island cabin and look at their child. No app, no base station, no Linda Wozicek, no fine print. Just the 2 of them and the baby and the sound of the sea. Rachel packs the empty pod into a box. She rides back into town and drops it at the post office, return to sender. She rides back to the cabin along the coast road. Inside, Alvy is on the floor with the baby on his chest. She lies down beside them. Outside, real trees, real water, real light coming through a window with no algorithm deciding when it turns on. Some things do not need an upgrade. If this one stayed with you, the next video on this channel is already up.